Friday night. Young boys often do get a little out of hand on Friday nights, so maybe that's what has happened. But it's still, I imagine now the sun's starting to get down, and Taylor is saying that there's an icy chill. There's most certainly a very icy chill in the air at the moment. It feels as though that cold wind is back again. It was a lot warmer earlier, but now it's definitely gotten much colder again, and I would imagine that we're in for a cold night. And so these guys hopefully will go for a bit of water just now. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. And once they've had a bit of water, lie out right in the open at Galago Pan. That's the idea, at least. And it would be really nice if there was another leopard lurking around it. I think Thamba would be the perfect one to join these two. Wouldn't it be funny if we had all three of them just interacting with one another? I was just saying to Seb now, I think Thamba and Xongile seem to be very similar, and they're both always watching what's going on, always looking, always seeing, and kind of taking in their surroundings, and they seem to be both quite active cats. Hosana, on the other hand, is still as flat as ever. I don't think he's even moved his ear, and there's been vehicles driving around, and he just hasn't worried for 1 second. Xongile is far more noticing of what goes on and far more aware, and that's going to stand her in good stead at the end of the day. Being a young female, she's going to have to be aware of her environment until such time as she's able to step up and take this area as her own. Now, we were talking about leopards and what the dynamics are going to be over the next little bit, and like I said, it's anyone's guess as to what happens, but I was thinking, we've lost these two females that are prominent females in this area. We know that Thandi and Shadow are a little bit older as well, and it seems as though they kind of had this thought that there was not really too many young leopards around. There certainly isn't any leopards that are 5, 6, 7 years old that are kind of actively territorial at the moment, so I was feeling a bit down about everything, and then I started to actually think of the number of young female leopards that we have in this area and how spoiled we actually are, because we can't forget that we've got Inchila, we've got Tiani, we've got Kuchava, Xongile, there's still Inkanyeni, there's still Thandi Shadow. Shadow's little cub is a female, so there's Ingrid Dam's cub, Ingrid Dam herself, there's Moya. Moya's got a young female cub as well, so there's, at the end of the day, no shortage of females around. Now it's just hopefully that all of those youngsters manage to get themselves a territory and end up being dominant within this section. It will really be good if we can have lots of females with small territories to start, and then as things happen that they start to expand them territories outwards. But there certainly is a lot of leopards around, and it's not all gloom and despair, that's for sure. I was, like I say, a bit worried when I thought about it, and then actually when you start to remember just how many young females there are, we still have a very healthy population at this stage. Roshni, you're wondering how the genetics work if they inbreed. Now, Roshni, I'm not very good with, well, not in any way sort of scientifically minded when it comes to genetics, but from talking to varying vets and other people that know about these things, and Tara being one of them, inbreeding in cats, so in something like a leopard, if it's once in a while, is going to have no effect on the genetics. You're not going to have a situation where you're going to be born with a compromised individual. It's not one generation. It will take multiple generations of inbreeding before you start to show signs of deformities or any sort of issues in terms of the genetic material. So every now and then it's okay, and that will all be worked out eventually over time. But if, let's say, hypothetically, we had to have Tingana mate with Xongile and then mate with Xongile's little ones, and then if she had cubs and then mate with those little ones, you would then start to notice things happening. So from what I've heard and what they've discussed is that between sort of 3 and 4 generations of inbreeding in a row would then start to show symptoms of inbreeding. But if just one generation is not too much of an issue, and they'll actually be okay. So genetically, even if we had a situation where, let's say, Quarantine became dominant here and mated with Xongile, it's not going to be the end of the world. They certainly won't find that those cubs will be too bad. There will still be enough genetic variety in them that they'll survive. It's just multiple, like I said, multiple years in a row that you get issues. or multiple matings in a row that issues will arise. But you can see she, like I said, is far more aware of what goes on. She's just checking, seeing what's happening. That sun is getting to the perfect height in the sky where they might start to wake and start to move a little bit towards that waterhole before it gets too dark. Now Raiza, you say looking out for her brother Hosana. Well, the way that he's sleeping, it's needed, because he almost looks as though he's completely comatose. I suppose he had too much at the buffet and is now flat and full, and is not actually moving too much at all. So somebody's going to have to look out for him, given that he is taking it as easy as he is currently. I think she wants to move around and investigate. Just now when she got up, she was kind of moving down, and then she sort of hesitated and looked over her shoulder at Hosana. When he's flat sleeping like this, she's not really going to go too far away from him, I don't think. I think she's quite enjoying the fact that he's around, given that she also moved straight towards him and sort of rubbed her head up against his and made that movement. I think she's probably more attached to him than he is of her. Although, when we saw her move a little bit, he did get up and come out of that little hollow to see where she was going. So I suppose they both have that same connection. Oh, are you also going to sleep now? No, we're going to roll on our back. Look at those paws tucking up together. Very cute. Now, if you look at her back paw now, it's quite nice that you can see the underside of the back paw, and hopefully at some point we'll get Hosana lying in the same way, and we can show you the difference between the back paws of both male and female. The female, there you can see, look how elongated that track is. It's almost oval in shape if you had to see that, whereas the males would be a lot more rounded. I know we saw Thamba's recently, and I was showing you how his is a lot more rounded on the back than a female, but there's a nice study of her footprint, and it's still a lot smaller than some of the other leopards out here, so she definitely still has the smallest track of the females, other than obviously Shadow's cub, which is still tiny, but the rest of them, of these sort of females that are independent, she definitely still has the smallest foot by a long way. But it's a tough life. You can see heavy breathing, sigh every now and then. It's hard when you have a full stomach and you're resting. At least it's not excessively hot, because then she would be quite uncomfortable. Now, I believe some of you are still sending in your one-word tweets, which is fantastic. The more we get, the better. So, Alice, have you got some more for me? So, me in USA, you say awe-inspiring. It is. It's very cool to see. Like I say, to have the two of them together again is not something I thought we would see. You know, at the end of the day, maybe brief glimpses of them passing by, but to lie together in that close proximity and rest together and spend the whole afternoon with them like this is certainly not what I would have expected today. So it is quite awe-inspiring, and I'm certainly very, very glad that we've managed to see the two of them together. Now, like I say, if only they would get up in this golden light and move towards that pan and have a drink in the golden light, it would certainly make for a very special afternoon. Even if they don't, I'm still going to be thrilled that we've got to see them, that's for sure. Now, I believe we're not the only ones noticing the golden light. There is Miss McCurdy, who I'm sure is throwing her blonde locks around in the golden light and is enjoying the beauty that is Chitwa Dam in the afternoons.
We've arrived at Chitwa Dam with new life. Look at that. Some new blacksmith lapwing chicks, and I reckon these are very, very young. Maybe only a few days old. I actually don't know if I've seen little chicks this young before, because even the ones we saw at Treehouse Dam didn't have as much mottling, that sort of brown colour on them. They were sort of more black already. Look at that, really long legs, big feet. Definitely hasn't grown into its body, and I've seen two so far, and we're on the most eastern corner of Chitwa Dam. Definitely the rooms that I'd like to stay in if I were to ever stay at this lodge. But look at that. They're able to run around and catch all sorts of things within the first couple of hours of their life. It doesn't take them too much. It's usually just waiting for the feathers to dry before they get to their feet and, start walking around, testing those legs. It almost looks a little bit wobbly still. There's the other one. Oh my word, can you go back a little bit to the right? There we go. Just by that stick, there's actually another one sitting down just there. There you go. It's just got up. There's another 2. So there's 3 of them. Oh, how exciting. So I think it's quite easy to say that typically black-smith lapwings have or lay between 3 and 4 eggs. Whether all of them will make it, I'm not too sure. The ones at Treehouse Dam seem to be doing very well, doing a good job at hiding, of course. You can hear that this adult has panicked and it has grown another pair of legs now, but that's just one of the little chicks going under to keep nice and warm. So it just shows you how young they actually are. Oh, look at this. There we go. Come on, you can fit. Go on under. Trying to find and get underneath all those feathers. Sibling, move over. Oh, this is very precious. It's okay, don't worry, we're not going to hurt you. We're not very close to these animals either, so we must be about 30 meters or so away from them. I think Mom is just on the or Dad is on the panicked side, purely because they're that young. They really are only a few days old. Now, catch you wondering if birds have good eyesight. Most certainly they do. Typically a bird like a black-smith lapwing that lives down on the ground. You know, it's got to watch out for predators. And then also they're looking for little insects around. So I think that their eyesight is fairly good. I think just in general with birds, their eyesight has to be quite good. Their sense of smell is not sort of as well developed as it is with the cats and some of the other mammals. But that's all right. They've got other things that they can, of course, rely on. Hearing is not too bad either, but I think the black-smith lapwing is predominantly relying on its eyesight. Maybe something like I'm just trying to think what else would use sense of smell. Maybe some of the probers. Maybe they're using sense of smell slightly, but again, they've also got sensory nerves in their bill that help detect their food where they can't see it. But what an amazing sighting. I really am enjoying seeing all these young animals. This is a very exciting time of year, of course. Ladies and daisies, you said quick under the mombrella. That's hilarious. I might have to steal that and add that to my list of things. So thank you very much. That's very cool. I like that. And of course, you can imagine it's not just the birds here. Well, where's the third one though? I think the third one has run for cover. I don't know if it managed to get a spot under there because I can only see 6 legs now. So adult and then of course the 2 of the youngsters. Otherwise it would have just sat down somewhere, just trying to keep out of the way. But it's okay, I promise you, we won't hurt you. But Mom or Dad, we can't move though because there's gremlins around here. And there's Egyptian geese. There's 3 Egyptian geese just sitting in the water in front of one of the rooms. Yeah, they're not quite floating at the moment. They actually just look like they're standing in the shallows of a pod of hippos. And it seems like the main family that are here. You can see a couple of them with their bodies submerged, but they all seem to be scattered around at the moment. And this is normally the time, of course, we know this is when they get active. This is the best time to come down to the dam because they'll start opening their mouths, they'll start calling, and it's a beautiful place. I imagine though for the guests that have never been to Africa, it must be quite daunting at night listening to the hippos, listening to all the birds, and the same thing, you know, throughout the day. It must be quite loud. As I know, and we often talk about this, some of the complaints we've had, and when you get the rainy season, or actually just when it gets warmer, and the frog life comes alive again. The chorus that you must get from this dam at night, I think really could be overwhelming. And well, we can't turn the sounds of nature off, I'm afraid. And it would definitely take you a couple of days to adjust to something like this. But what a way to sort of get away from sirens and hooters. Oh, there we go. Hello, hippo, opening your mouth. And then moving to, well, natural sounds. I think it is much better. Although a lot of us are accustomed to the sounds of traffic and just the city noises. And like I said, when you hear hippos fighting too, the males, It sounds like dinosaurs. How great is this? Where's our little friends? There should be 3 young hippo calves around here. The one that did open its mouth, I think, was a sub-adult. It wasn't quite fully grown just yet, but I haven't seen any of the little heads popping out. But I'm sure they'll eventually come around. Who's going to sing first? Obviously the lapwing's still going. The Egyptian goose has started chattering. But when is the hippo going to make a noise? There's a couple of animals also coming down to drink. There's a beautiful Inyala bull just to the left of the hippos. It's just sort of standing behind a tree. A little bit further left. There we go. It's about to come out now. Just underneath the sort of wall of Chitwa. And that's where the main lodge is situated up there. I'm not sure if that's where the pool is. I haven't actually been to Chitwa Lodge. And there's the hippo strand. You can just see that wire. That's just to try and keep the elephants and the buffalo and the hippos out. That doesn't always work though. They often find a way, and especially now coming into winter, they want to eat all the nice lush green vegetation. And as you can imagine, a lot of the lodges actually water the plants in and around the lodge, so they stay lush. You'll find lots of warthogs will actually go up and graze right near the lodge too. And it was a dispute. One of my favorite things to watch in the whole, it sends you so quick, that's fantastic, is watching the blacksmith lapwings and the 3-banded plovers chase each other. They really do not like one another, and they're both exceptionally territorial, but they don't stand for it. And it's sometimes actually quite hard to get onto camera. There it goes again. Whee! I love that posture. You can see straight away when a blacksmith lapwing is not having any of the 3-banded plovers nonsense, tucking its head right down, sort of opening its wings and then charging over and ending up in a flight. They're very quick birds as well. You know, they don't waste any time. There you go. Who else do you chase? You just chased a drongo away. You know, not happy with anyone. There's some more 3-banded plovers. Maybe it's got a nest around. Obviously we've seen... No, that's maybe some youngsters. There's some more juvenile. Oh, there we go. Look, tucking under another one. So 3 more juvenile or little chicks of the blacksmith lapwings. That's quite cool. Isn't that wonderful? No, but did you say birdhead Tom or redhead Tom? Sorry, Alice. Deadhead Tom. You've said that this drive has been filled with cuteness. It has indeed. We're very lucky. It's going to be quite sad though to watch these little ones grow up. I can't imagine that all of them are going to make it to adulthood. It's just the unfortunate reality. As much as I'd love for all of them to reach adulthood, the chances of that, especially with the fish eagles and things around, well, it's quite slim actually. But while they're this age, only a couple of days old, they're really going to be hanging around close to mom and dad, trying to keep nice and warm, especially on a cold day like today. Otherwise, you'll see them on the edge of the water, sort of looking for food. I mean, they don't seem to mind the Egyptian geese too much either. It's quite cool though. The birding has been quite wonderful this afternoon. I'm just having a scan to see if I can find anybody else that's interesting that's perhaps trying to catch... Oh, what's that? In the tree, I think it's a gymnogene. Sort of in line with this room. Let me try. I don't think I can get over there. You see that very green tree? No, go to the right. No, hang on. Let me go to the right a bit more. In there. In that spot there. There we go. Who's sitting there? Ooh, sneaky. There we go. Gymnogene, an African Harrier hawk. Just hiding about, doing exactly what I said, catching the last of the afternoon rays. It's cold. It'll be very nice. It's all fluffed up, preening itself. And it's lucky. It hasn't actually been spotted by anybody just yet because none of the birds are really sort of overreacting. I haven't seen any drongos going in there mobbing. Normally the Egyptian geese are ones to let off a sort of call of distress. We did see some Egyptian geese goslings yesterday too, and that's exactly what this bird would be going after. It would go after these blacksmith lapwing chicks too, but it's a very small meal for a raptor of this size. So whether it would bother with going after them, not sure, unless it was maybe desperate. But definitely those Egyptian geese goslings, adults have got to be very careful with that, because this bird would find that a very nice meal. Also, they are able to stick their legs into the holes of trees and dig around quite nicely. And we know that there's lots and lots of birds around here, especially the buffalo weavers, and they make those massive nests. So quite a few thorns and things. So it might be a little bit difficult, but with all the dead knob thorns and things, there'll be lots of cavities, natural cavities, or things that woodpeckers have sort of pecked away at, barbets living in those trees, and they'll be going for their chicks. Very cool though. I know there's a couple of you that often request to see the gymnogenes that are around here. Ryeza, you said that was well spotted. Thank you very much. I actually thought it was going to be an owl. I thought we were going to have an owl day today. Isn't that amazing? There's some of the rooms of the luxurious Chitwa Lodge. Beautiful setup here. Isn't that great? But we're going to move around now, and in order for us to move around... Oh, actually, you know what? Before we move around, Senzo, shall we show everybody the beautiful sunset? Because I don't know if Tristan's got a view of the sunset. He's been with the leopards. So let's quickly appreciate this view. It is a very nice setting with, of course, the marula trees that have lost their leaves. And then, of course, it's so amazing. We're just about to lose the sun. But I'm going to send you back across to Tristan while we maneuver around to find those African fish eagles and other things that could be lurking around the dam.
Well, we don't have much of a view of a sunset, Taylor. Unfortunately, we're sitting behind quite a lot of bush, but there is a few little clouds that have some coloration in them and some of the trees fluttering in the breeze, so that's where we are there. And our two leopards still fast asleep underneath all of that. I suppose it's that kind of weather and that kind of day where everybody's just trying to curl up and hide away from this horrible cold wind, and if you've got a big full tummy like these two have, it is the perfect place to have a nice rest. It must be much better in this thicket behind some of this brush, so I'd imagine we're not going to see too much movement from them, although I thought now around sunset we would see them waking up and maybe going for a drink after a warmer afternoon should we say. But it seems as though, nope, it's still bedtime and still time just to tuck up and rest. There's another leopard. We've got a third leopard here. There we go. So Thandi's arrived. There we go. Look at that, guys. 3 leopards in the same sizing. Now look, she's just watching. How is this? This is amazing. Look at that, guys. 3 in 1. So there's screenshot. Oh, that's so awesome. And look, Thandi's just watching them. She's not at all too fussed at this stage. She's just like, who are these two lying in this area, and what are they doing here? Now, Hosana and Xongile have not seen her at all, and the fact that there's 2 of them might make Thandi a little bit more aware of what's going on. She certainly is just sitting and watching. Isn't this ridiculous? Oh, this is absolutely amazing. Now, I said earlier that there was bushbuck alarm calling and squirrels alarm calling, and maybe Thandi would arrive, and well, we've absolutely nailed it. So this is so cool. What are the chances of her arriving straight to where we are now, and us to be in the position that we're in, where we can get all 3 of them in the same frame? But she's not really sure what to do. I don't think she's unsure about the fact that there's 2 of them. I think if it was just 1, she would probably be far more likely to approach. But look, she's just watching. She's just trying to see what is going on here. Thandi, are you confused, girl? And 3 of my favorite leopards in one sighting is just so cool. Now, if Thamba shows up, where I might have died and gone into leopard heaven if Thamba shows up. It certainly will have. But look, she's just watching. Xongile moving. Lara Moore, you say, what an expression on her face. Now, Xongile has just lifted her head and is stretching, and Thandi's watching ever so carefully. She's trying to see. She almost got a bit of a fright and moved. Here comes Thandi. Thandi's stalking in. Look, she's coming closer. Look at those eyes now. That expression means business, and these 2 cats have not seen her at all. Hopefully one of the cats will pick up. She's going to sit down right there, and these 2 have not noticed her at all. It just goes to show you that a leopard is so quiet when it moves that these 2 cats really have got no idea. Now the thing is if either of them notice them, they're going to panic and probably run. It's certainly going to be very interesting to see what happens now. don't think Thandi knows what to do either, because you see she's stopped now as well. This is ridiculous. What are the chances? Tony, you say how exciting, what on earth is going to happen? Look, you see Xongile just moved and Thandi goes lower just to lie down and see what's going on. She's now noticed, I think, that there's a second leopard, that there's not just one, and she's now a lot more aware of what's going on. Look, she's staring at Xongile. This is crazy. How cool is this? Snazzy, you're wondering why she's creeping. Xongile, I think, has noticed her now. Xongile just stared. There we go, look, Xongile's up. Thandi's much lower now as well. So the reason why she's creeping is because she doesn't know who these leopards are. She's not sure who they could be, whether or not they're a threat, and she's getting closer to try and see what's happening without giving herself away. She's now gone into a position basically as though she was stalking an animal, just to try and weigh up her options and see what's happening. Now look, Xongile's seen, Xongile's chuffing. Then now Hosana's up as well. So Xongile is now showing submissive displays. Look, there we go. Hosana's also up and watching. Listen to Xongile, she's growling. There comes the... They're fighting with one another. This is unfortunately what does happen. Hosana's out, but they both are going at each other properly. Now, there we go. It's difficult to see what's going on, but Thandi is definitely the one that is standing at this stage. Now, Xongile is playing submissive. She's on her back, she's growling and she's hissing. And this is unfortunately what was going to happen with Xongile. We've been talking about the fact that there's been territorial females around and that she has to be careful. Now, I don't want to move too much. I just want to let them sort themselves out. I don't know where Hosana's gone. Hosana ran off. I'm not sure where he is. But this is absolutely crazy. We're going to try and see if I can't just get through to see what's going on, because there is a ditch in front of me and a few stumps. Hopefully this is not anything too serious and that Xongile is okay. She doesn't look like she's got any sort of sign of... Can you see Hosana? No, there they go again. So Thandi is the one that is circling around, and she's definitely getting growled at heavily by Xongile at this stage. But look, you can see there's a few little cuts, so Xongile definitely landed a few on her face. Now look, Thandi's moving off, so Xongile has done at least enough to try and show Thandi that she's not going to lie down. But look, there's a few cuts on the face, so both of them will get a few little nicks. Now nothing there is going to be too serious at this stage. They definitely will have a situation where there's going to be a few little flesh wounds, but that's not going to in any way hurt her. The one making all the noise is actually Xongile. She's the one that's being super grumpy and aggressive and hissing, and she's obviously learned that that's how she has to. But this is ridiculous, and I know a lot of you are going crazy, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking that Hosana must help his sister, but that's not going to happen. Hosana is not going to get involved in this. He's heard fighting and he's now nervous. But here comes Thandi. She's coming back to where I think Hosana was lying to see what's going on. There she comes. She's certainly not impressed with life, is Thandi. And she's made a big statement here, is that Xongile, you are not welcome in my territory at all. So if any of you are wondering what's been happening with Thandi and whether or not she's tolerant, you can see she's not at all tolerant of a female. Did not go at all for Hosana. She left him alone. Now look, she's sniffing. She's working out who are these leopards that I've just fought with. And off she goes. Alison, you're wondering if there's any chance one will kill the other. Well, Alison, it's a possibility. You never know with leopards. It can happen, but I don't think so. I think in all likelihood we're in a situation where what's been happened now is the display has been made. Thandi has certainly put the gauntlet down and has shown she's not shy of putting her foot down and getting rid of these young leopards. Now, unfortunately, I can't go any further. Let's just try and see, Seb, if we can't punch through here, maybe. Obviously, there's a lot of trees and bushes. And I'm trying to just see if I can't get round to where Xongile is so I can see how she's doing, because no, we're not going to fit there. So we're going to have to try and get into reverse. Let's try. Sorry, Seb, you're going to have to just duck on your side. There's just a fallen over stump. Now, Thandi is still sitting in the thicket there, and I think Xongile is still here. I haven't seen her move off. She's just lying. There's Xongile, and she looks okay actually. She's got less scars on her than Thandi has at the moment. She certainly doesn't have any blood on the face. She's got a bit of dust on her backside, but that's it. She actually looks fairly alright. And like I said, one point during that fight, because it was difficult to see behind all the bushes, but it looked like Xongile was actually on top, fighting with Thandi and biting Thandi more than Thandi was on her. So it's quite an incredible feat. Look at her. You can see she doesn't have any cuts on the face, so she certainly got a few in to Thandi. Now Thandi's coming back the front of my car. She's going to be coming around. This is ridiculous. Now hopefully, look at Xongile, look at her. She's very upset. She's showing and standing her ground. She's certainly, look, listen. Well done, my girl. You need to be like this. And this is how she asserts herself. If she wants to become a territorial individual, this is what she's got to do. It's at a time like this that she needs her mother's fight and her mother's attitude to sort this out. Now here's Hosana is actually the one in front. Here comes Thandi behind, who's salivating. So she's growling at Hosana at the moment, but Hosana's the one that's right next to me, and here comes Thandi behind Hosana. And I wonder if Hosana's not going to get a little smack on the backside as well, because he's right in front and now he's growling at Thandi as well. So Thandi's being growled at by both the cubs. So if you were wondering what Hosana's stance is here, he's definitely put himself between Xongile and he's growling at her. This is just insane interaction. This is a once in a lifetime. Now, Thandi's lying down. Hosana's watching Xongile. He's just in front. That's Hosana there. And Xongile has got her eyes firmly fixed on this position. Now she's also growling as well. I think everybody's trying to work out who is who at this stage. Nobody's actually sure what is going on. I don't think Thandi really understands the situation. There's a male here that is the same size as her, which she's giving no trouble to whatsoever, and yet there's this female. And the loudness of this fight, who knows what other leopards could arrive. You could easily find Tingana moving into this area and checking what's going on as well. Sure. What an insane little passage. But I'm so impressed with Xongile. She stood up for herself better than I thought she would, and she certainly showed Thandi she's not going to lie down. Safari, you're saying maybe she thought Hosana and Xongile were a mating pair. Well, undoubtedly I think that's what she thought. I think she's thought that there's another female here mating with a male, and that's why she's gotten so kind of upset about what's happened. I'm sure what's happened. That's why she's not showing aggression towards Hosana, who's right here. She showed aggression to the female, which is smaller, and certainly has tried to prove that she is the dominant female in here and tried to chase Xongile away. She's not worried about Hosana. But the thing is that Xongile, like I say, has stood up for herself. She's growling, she's hissing, she's saying to Thandi, I don't care if you're the female, this is my area with my brother and this is where I'm staying. So it is a really interesting study of leopard behavior, that's for sure. But wow, they certainly got into it, didn't they? Thandi's now lying quite flat at the moment, so she's not moving too much. Wow, I actually am a bit speechless. That took me completely by surprise, and like I say, I am super impressed with Xongile. You've really outdone yourself, Xongile, to stand up like that and to fight and come out with less cuts and scrapes than what Thandi has is really quite something. Although I think she might have, sometimes when they fight, they sometimes damage their claws, and I think she might have damaged her claw on the front left. You can see there, look, there's a little bit of blood there, or it looks like blood. So I think that's the claw that must have made contact with Thandi. But it's insane. We've got 3 different leopards growling all around us. So I've got one in front, one to my left, and one to my right, and they are all not happy about what's going on. Like I say, guys, I actually don't even know what to tell you. It's just this is the most insane thing ever. Watching leopards in this kind of situation is just crazy, and who knows what's going to happen and how this is going to play out. At the end of the day, it's a female with another female and a male in amongst it, but the way that Hosana has positioned himself now, little Xongile at least has a barrier from where Thandi is, and Thandi's lying down and she's just growling, but it looks like Xongile doesn't want to give up, because Xongile has been left alone basically. There's Hosana, you can just see his spots in front of me. But Xongile has been left by Thandi and she didn't run. So Xongile has made it very clear that she's not running away. She's staying right here. Whereas Thandi, you can see, is a bit confused by all of this. She's not sure what's going on. And at the end of the day, a leopard female that doesn't run away from her and stays and growls and hisses is completely sort of throwing down the gauntlet. But here she goes. Now she's going towards Hosana. Hosana's right in front. Now is she going to attack him? Just going to... Xongile is not happy about Thandi coming closer. Now you see Thandi's response to Hosana is very different. You see she's in the submissive pose now. She's down, head down. There comes Hosana. Hosana's coming out towards Xongile, which is good news. Hosana, you just go lie with your sister and look after her. This is just ridiculous. Thandi is still down here in the thicket. Seb, I'm just going to level us out a little bit, because Seb is battling with trying to keep focus on all of these leopards. So I'm just going to go down a little bit so that Seb can see what's going on, and also just help him. Is that better, Seb? Or would you want me to straighten out a bit? So there we go. That's going to hopefully help Seb a little bit. But there's Xongile. So you can see Xongile, Hosana, and then Thandi to my left. So they're all in a kind of line at the moment. And certainly Hosana, I think, is also unsure as to how to deal with this problem. He's probably never seen his sister this upset. And she's upset even with him. She's even growling at him at the moment, because I don't think she knows what's going on either. Wow. I believe a lot of you are speechless, and well, I think we all are at this stage. This is absolutely crazy, and what to make of all of this and how this is all going to play out is anyone's guess. I certainly don't have any idea as to how we're going to go from here, but Hosana is definitely sort of more siding with his sister. You see he's moving towards his sister. She's not impressed at all. So Xongile at this stage is very, very unimpressed by what's going on. Look at her, as you can see. So now she's even doing that to Hosana. Hosana's just walking slowly past her. Go sit with your sister. I think Hosana might get a little smack from his sister as well. No, she's realized now that that's Hosana, so she's now focused on Thandi, who's also not happy at all. Look at Hosana's now phlegm and grimacing. He's smelling where that fight took place. Wow. I don't think this is going to end anytime soon either. Philip, you're wondering what sensors they use to ID each other. Well, most certainly the main sense that they're going to use is going to be, in this situation when they're so close, is eyesight, but there will also be sense of smell. You could see how Hosana had his nose down sniffing, so he sniffed and then he curled his lips back and had his phlegm and grimace. Now you see, look, he's still sniffing, so he's trying to work out who are these individuals that are fighting and which one is my sister, which one is, you know, an intruder. And so that's what they're using, but eyesight at this stage will be probably the biggest sense that they're using. Well done, Xongile. Like I say, she's done a sterling effort to try and keep herself safe. can see she obviously got a bite in as well, because she's got blood on her teeth as well, so she must have bitten Thandi somewhere as well. And she's got no sign. I can't see any blood on her at all, so she seems to have come out of that fairly well, which is pretty insane. Thandi's up as well. So Charlie, you say back right hip on Xongile. Well, it's possible. I can't see anything at this stage. At least on her stomach, look, there's nothing there, which is good news. So that's okay. Now Thandi is slowly but surely edging her way forward again. So let's see how this plays out. But sure. I don't know if this is good for my nerves anymore. There's just too many leopard incidents lately with, you know, problems that we've had. It's not good for my nerves. Hopefully this will just end in one of them deciding that they're over it and move off. But I would imagine that tomorrow there's going to be a massive movement of all of these cats. I don't think any of these three are going to be in the same place as what we're seeing them right now. Look at this. Look at Xongile's aggression. She's actually starting to mock charge back at Thandi. And Hosana got a massive fright. His sister came charging forward a few steps, and Hosana got a huge fright. You see, he's just sat down again now. Shame boy, did you get a fright? Are these girls causing too much commotion for you? Don't tell me there's another one arriving that she's looking around. Jude, you say your nerves are a wreck. Well, I think Jude, you and everybody else at this stage, we're all in the same boat. This is really just the most insane thing. Hopefully this is all going to end peacefully, like I say. It would be better actually at this stage if Xongile just decided to cut her losses and move off. The problem is, as soon as she turns her back, Thandi's going to be onto her like a flash, like what we saw earlier. So it's better that her and Hosana sit like this, growl and hiss and carry on, and try and keep Thandi at bay. Now Thandi's busy licking some war wounds on my left hand side here. She's just getting rid of all that blood on her face. Look, like I say, you can see who the most aggressive is of this whole encounter is Xongile by a long stretch. Oh, I'm just checking because she keeps looking behind me. The last thing we need is another leopard to enter the fray here. There's more than enough drama as it is at this stage. Sure. Like I say, a moment to catch our breath a little bit. There we go, everybody's just calming down slightly. Jinska, you say Karula would be proud. Well, most certainly. She's certainly shown Karula's spirit this afternoon. She's definitely not stood down to Thandi at all. And is this the moment that Xongile goes from a cub to a adult and starts to progress in life? Because she most certainly has not taken a step back for Thandi at all. She might be buoyed by confidence of having Hosana around as well. You might find if Hosana wasn't here, she might have run a bit quicker, but she's certainly not backing down. Look, you can see she's got the posture that is more threatening. She's growling, she's hissing, and she's not impressed that Thandi had a go at her. But whew, like I say, my nerves. John, you say the best form of defense is attack. Well, if that's the case, then Xongile's got certainly doing the best job she can, because she is not at any way backing down, and you can see she's aware of her surroundings now. She's not going to get caught again unaware. She's making sure that she keeps her eye all the way around her, even on Thandi. And now see Thandi's standing again. And that is not a happy cat. Thandi's tail is going crazy in this bush as well. side there is where Thandi is. You can just see the tail bobbing up and down every now and then. There it is, you see it flickering, and that is the sign of a very unhappy cat. Here she comes. Look, she's coming out into the open. Now, you see her posture? And even Hosana is now growling as well. I wonder if they come to blows again, if Hosana is going to get involved this time. I can tell you one thing though, these two are certainly not taking this lying down, so to speak. And there goes Thandi, she's down as well. This is ridiculous. We have 3 leopards literally staring at each other at the moment, and I don't think any of them know where to look. So Thandi, Hosana, Xongile, and us in the middle. And seriously, it is just, you can see 2 leopards that are not impressed. But interesting, if you look at Xongile now, look at her tail. So her tail is not flicking as much as what Thandi's is. Her tail is up and almost in a submissive posture. So she's showing Thandi, I'm not a threat, so I'm putting up my white tail, although it's starting to go now. Hassan is bewildered by all of this. He doesn't even know what to make of what's just gone on. His very peaceful, lazy Saturday afternoon has been completely interrupted. Look at those eyes. It's almost like to say, what do I do now? I've got 2 females and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Well, Hosana, I can tell you the best thing to do is just to stay where you are now, because you're keeping Thandi at bay from Xongile at this stage, I think. And the fact that Thandi can see there's 2 leopards in front of her is definitely keeping the situation the way it is at the moment. Xongile, you are not a happy girl. Tell you that sound that she's making is spine chilling. If you had to be the one on the other end of that, it is not a pleasant sound. And I have been on the other end of Karula's particular growl just like that, and once walked into her, and she certainly made me feel very small. So she's doing a sterling effort to try and make herself larger and bigger and more vocal to try and keep Thandi at bay. Yeah, I don't even know actually what more to say about this. This has just been out of nowhere. I think she's getting a bit anxious as well. She's kind of looking around. And the more the sound is being made, the more the likelihood of others arriving is. So we know Tingana often just arrives in the most crazy situation. So that's the last leopard we need to arrive here, because a big dominant male will just cause absolute havoc here. So I think the best thing is that these 3 try and split as quick as possible and the noise calms down. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them does arrive, and Mvula or Tingana, with the noise that is being made. And even Thamba, although I think Thamba would be scared of this. Thamba would hear this and move the opposite direction. Just keep looking around, because Xongile keeps looking past me as though there's something that's behind me, but I can't see anything. It's starting to get dark now. It's difficult, but sure. So it's just, sorry Zeb, I was just checking what Hosana was up to there. is a very unhappy cat. I'm not talking too much because I just want you guys to hear all the sounds that are being made. Shame poor Hosana keeps looking at Xongile, and when he does, she growls at him, and he's almost like looking at her as to say, don't growl at me, it's not my fault, all of this. Right, we're just going to quickly go across to Taylor to see what she's been up to and what she's been doing at Chitwa Dam while there's a brief hiatus in this particular situation, and we'll see you all in a little bit.
Literally, that was unbelievable. I even whipped out my mobile device and popped, the show on YouTube so I could also see what was going on. How exciting was that? Senzo and I were both sitting on the edge of our seat. That was unbelievable. Obviously, we were all very worried about Xongile, and it seems as though Xongile was the one that we didn't need to worry about. She definitely got her mother's fight. Very, very, very exciting. Now, we're still sitting at Chitwa Dam. We've actually put infrared on, and I'd like to go across to infrared because there's something that I want to show you. Something interesting of our own, but they're not going anywhere. And it's all happening just on the other side of the bank on the island. So we're going to go into infrared now. There we go. Light is just warming up. We've not got one crocodile. We've got two crocodiles. We've got Vlad and Boris sitting together. How cool is that? That's the first time I've seen the two of them sitting within, well, a couple of feet from one another. Now, that one on the left, that one's got the notch out of its tail, so that is Vladimir, and then the one on the right is Boris. Now, because I've never really been able to tell you who I think is bigger than the other because I haven't seen them together, but straight away you can see that Vladimir is definitely the bigger crocodile. And the crocodile on the right it's quite interesting. It's very difficult to try and sex a crocodile. It's virtually impossible, other than the fact that the males get much larger than the females. And the reason why it's so hard to tell the difference is because their sexual organs are internal, so we can't see them. And I'm not going over there to do an examination. But sometimes you can tell with crocodiles, the females tend to look slightly more slender than the males. And just looking at Boris, the whole sort of posture is not so sort of as staunch, if you will, as Vladimir on the left. So I'm wondering if Boris is not maybe a female. Like I said, it's very difficult to tell. We can only really speculate. I don't know if any of you have actually seen the two of them together before on the same bank. If you have, you can let me know. #SafariLive. But you can clearly just see, though, that Vladimir is much larger in size in terms of length, probably a good 1 meter longer than Boris, and also, like I just said, a lot more. His face looks slightly more slender, so I wonder if in fact that is not a female, but we won't really know, unfortunately. But I thought that was quite cool. There's been lots of action. The hippos starting to wake up. We can't really see any of them at the moment. I think they're heading to the areas, heading to their spots where they'll probably come out of the water soon. Now, James, you said date night. Oh, you never know. Perhaps, well, the guinea fowl might be ruining it for them. You can see they've taken up residence on the tops of the trees of the crocodiles. There's actually quite a few of them. I don't think that that's a very clever spot to roost. You're out in the open. You're quite vulnerable, actually. You can imagine something like a Varro's eagle owl would be able to spot you and, well, sort of practice that crashing technique we were talking about yesterday morning that they sometimes like to do. It's also very windy, so I can't imagine it's warm up there, and it must be quite difficult to hold onto a perch. But in my opinion, I don't know if guinea fowl are the most intelligent birds out there. They make me laugh all the time. They do such silly things. So they're now trying to balance and preen themselves on a very, very windy day. Megan, you said that they look so ominous up in the tree. They do, especially with the clouds, and of course in black and white too. That definitely does create that scene. And this water thicknesses were around at 1.2. They've flown off though, and it seems to just be the guinea fowl that are left. They were quite funny too. They were all chasing each other around, but obviously very exciting stuff with the 3 leopards. Unbelievable, I think, is a word that you could use to describe that. Very impressive. Whew! I almost don't even know what to say. After my heart is still pumping. Montana, you were saying, I wonder who was rooting for who, in terms of the leopard, or perhaps the crocodile. Anyways, we're pretty. I think you're talking about the leopards, obviously. But, I don't know. I'm all for Xongile just because she's younger and she's sort of the underdog. No one would really expect her. Whew. But oh no, it sounds like a 4th leopard has joined. Let's very quickly go across to Tristan.
So there we go. Thamba is also here by the looks of it. I think it's him. I can't see nicely. He's far away at the moment, but it certainly doesn't look. Is it you, boy? It does look like you.
Yeah.
It is him.
Spot on there, yeah.
So it is. Thamba's also here now. Thandi's disappeared. She's moved off. So I've got Xongile and Hosana to my right. It looks like Thamba on my left now, and he is certainly, now that I can see the two, or him and Hosana next to me here, they are of a similar size, if not Thamba has a broader set of shoulders at this point. They are looking very similar in size. It's definitely not Thandi though that's sitting there. So a 4th leopard is now joined, and who knows how many more, because Thandi went jogging off into the bush. There he goes. Look at the size of him. He is massive.
Yeah, moving to infrared.
So Seb's going to go to infrared to try and be able to see better. He's dropping down into the riverbed, which is where Thandi went. So I think we're going to have a separation there. Hosana is now interested in what's going on as well. Xongile growling. This is just ridiculous. I don't know what else to say about all of this. I certainly have no idea. There goes, so you see, Hosana's now realized, hang on, there's another male here. Tess, you say this is crazy. Hosana certainly didn't like the presence of another male. He's slinking off now behind me. And Xongile is still standing her ground. She's still sitting. She's still looking. Well done, Xongile. You've seriously made me impressed today. If there was ever a doubt if this little female has the fight to survive and to be a dominant female, well, there you go. We've just been shown. She's just stood up to every leopard that has come her way. Even Thamba, she started to growl at him. She's made herself very big today. So well done, girl. You certainly, like I say, have impressed me. I don't know where Hosana's gone. Hosana is here just to my left still. Thandi down in the drainage. Thamba down in the drainage. So I think we're all good at this stage. Now, sorry about my cap. I'm trying to stay under, but to still see what's going on and try and still spot everybody and make sure that I can see everyone. Hosana is very clever. What he's done is he's actually moved out of the open and has moved himself into a thicket where he can watch and stay a little bit more hidden. And I would say now's the time for all of these leopards to separate. Thandi is the one that made the move and walked off. I think she heard Thamba coming and she went to go and maybe just say, wait, this is not a place for you, Thamba, you need to be out of here. And that maternal instinct has kicked in, and she's now going to lead her young son away from this potential situation, which would be the best thing that we could possibly see. If we can see Xongile and Hosana going further west now and Thandi and Thamba going east, it certainly will make things a lot better. But I don't even know what else to say. Nathan, you asking would lions come and investigate? Most certainly. If lions heard this noise, they would be in here in a flash to see what's going on, and that would not be good news. The lucky thing, should we say, is that there is not a lion anywhere in the vicinity that we know of. So there is the Gulma Pride has not come back from Manyeleti. The Birmingham males, as far as I know, 2 are down in the south with the sticks. Another one crossed from Twin Dam, so there's another leopard there. Seb, can you see it just over the top? It's just got its ears out, sticking up just through that gap there. So that section there is where it is, just underneath that tree. So unfortunately there's a tree in the way for Seb, but where a little bit up would be Seb. I think you're going to battle unfortunately with. But there's another leopard that's over there as well.
Behind us.
And Hosana slinking away behind us, back towards Gallagher and towards the staff camp. Xongile, it's now your time is to move, girl. You've done your job. It's time for you to start getting out of here. Look, she's chuffing now. She's trying to, I think, call towards Hosana to say, where are you going? Are working heavily. Okay, Xongile, now it's time. I think she's nervous to turn her back on what's going on because she doesn't want to get caught unawares again. I don't see any other leopards moving. There's a leopard there, but it's just watching what's going on. It's not moving towards us in any way, shape or form at this stage. That's Thamba though, that's over there. By what I can see, it looks like him. Right, now that everything's just reached some sort of hiatus and we just really kind of chilled out and it looks as though Hosana's moving off, Xongile is static, Thamba's just watching what's going on, no sign of Thandi. Let's quickly just jump across. Actually, hold on, let's just see where Xongile. No, she's going to lie down. Okay, while we're sitting like this, I believe Taylor has got a whole bunch of elephants that are running down towards Chitwa Dam. So let's quickly catch up with her while everything stays fairly relaxed this side.
Look at this, we have got elephants, but I have to show you two of our little hippo calves are just standing out of the water and they are so cute. The one at the back looks like it's biting its friend's tail and they are staring at the herd of elephants that have just come down towards us. We're still in infrared, that's why you're seeing in black and white at the moment. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Now, they've still got a while to go before they reach, of course, the area where they will come and graze, but then the elephants are just on the other side of the island, right in front of my car, in fact, right in front of Wendy. How amazing is that? We were so focused on watching those little hippos, and the next minute I heard shuffling of feet, and I thought, my goodness, somebody's coming down very quickly, and it's my favorite animal in the whole wide world. Hello, girl. Yes, I know it's dark, and you're probably thinking, why are you watching us drink water? Wonder if it's the herd that we saw their tracks sort of earlier, because they've come from the north. So I wonder if they just weren't sort of feeding in the Mulawati at some point and decided to come down this side. How spectacular! Two of the largest mammals, and then of course the horrible call of the hardy-da ibis. Not just one, that sounds like there's a whole flock of them roosting, unfortunately, overhead of one of the luxury suites at Chitwa. And there's a youngster who's trying to drink some water. You don't look like you're doing a very good job, I'm afraid. More of it is spilling out of your mouth. Now, if you're wondering why we're viewing elephants at night, we normally we don't. We aren't able to because we can't put the spotlight on them. They don't like it very much at all. But because we're using the infrared light, they don't see it and they're completely relaxed. As you can see, they haven't showed us that they're agitated at all. They did come racing down to the water's edge, so they must have been quite thirsty. Remember, elephants, they do try and drink every single day. Now, Kestrel Fox, you're wondering how well can an elephant see at night? I think slightly better than you and I could see at night, but unfortunately it's not particularly great. Hello guys, now I'm going to move because I'm near the edge of the water. I'm sorry Alice, I have to go, I couldn't stay still. Hopefully we don't get any gremlins on board. It's okay, big lady, relax. Now, the reason why I'm taking the stance of reversing straight away is because it's nighttime. I also can't really see what's around me, and the elephants will be naturally more agitated, of course, being viewed at night. So that's what I'm just going to rather take the stance of... sorry, I'm trying to get out of Senzo's shot there. You want to come this way, don't you? Oh, Alice, I'm sorry, I have to keep moving. I know we might lose signal. Oh, it's okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go back up here. Can I ask a favor? Can we keep this off? Just because I don't want to agitate the elephants at all. Let's stay in infrared. Right, let's very quickly go across to Tristan.
Well, Thandi's rushed in again and has chased Xongile, and they're having a fight somewhere here. I just can't see where it is now. Oh no, it's so thick in here. I've lost them. They went racing after one another and into this thicket. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch up with them from this side. Try and certainly see. There's one leopard slinking away in front. And I checked Xongile when she came past us. Xongile had a very slight little bite mark on her tail, but that's it. Just at the base of her tail was a small little canine wound, but other than that she's fine. She's got no damage to her hip or anything like that. But she and Thandi were somewhere here. I don't know where they've gone now.
There's one on the right side.
This is Hosana that's here. I don't know where the other two have gone. He's facing behind me. So Hosana is here. I can hear growling in front here, Seb. They're somewhere here in front. Let's just go back and try and get around quickly. Just see if I can head this way. That's Hosana now. The others I can hear growling not too far. Can I keep going back there? Okay. Now it is concerning that every time Xongile turns to move away, Thandi is running there. She's in the tree. She's in the tree. So she's gotten herself out of that mess and up into a tree, which is probably not a bad place to be at this stage. She can try and just stay up there. Now hold on, we're going to try and get round. Oh, this is just too much for my nerves at this stage. There's Thandi, Hosana, and there was a leopard up in the tree. There's Xongile. She's right up. Look where she's gone. She's gotten right up into the tree. So she's way up there at the moment. Thandi down on the ground below, and Hosana to our left. So that's the three of them. I don't know if we did see Thamba. It looked like him. Maybe it was just an odd angle. Now Thandi's going after Hosana. Hosana's growling at her. So she's just gone behind that bush. That's where Thandi went. And little Xongile, well done, my girl. Up into the tree, hide away up there. Eventually Thandi will get tired of you, and you can then stay. It means that she's perfectly fine. If she can climb a tree to that height, then she's got no injuries to her legs. Like I say, you can see there's no injury to that back hip anywhere. Whew. Right, let's just reposition here, Seb. We're going to try and just see if we can't get... Caitlin, who's 10 years old. Hello, Caitlin. Now, you want to know why these leopards are being naughty and fighting with each other. Well, Caitlin, the reason that they're fighting is because of territory. So what territory means, Caitlin, is that leopards have an area where there's food and water and places that they can stay nice and safe and look after themselves. And so when they're in places like that, then you have a situation that they have to protect it, because they don't want other leopards to come and to eat all of their food and to take all of their water. Now, got to try and get my earpiece out again before I break another one. So I've stuck with an earpiece, a spotlight, a car. Oh, we're off there. So Seb's just helping me quickly. There we go. Now I'm going to try and move, but unfortunately we've got... But it looks like Thandi there. Now I don't know where Hosana's gone. He was lying right here as well. In all of that, he's also moved off. And then Xongile is still up in the tree watching what's going on. So I'm just going to try and plug myself in again to the situation. And there we go. Now there's Hosana there. You see Hosana's just behind the bush on the one side, and Thandi on the other side. So you can just see his tail sticking out from behind that bush. But now that she's seen that it's a male, she's going to be far more wary of that. But Xongile is just watching up from up above. This is just too much right now. Shame. She's chuffing quite a bit up there. She's trying to just talk and get her way out of this, I think. But Thandi is not a happy girl either. She's very upset by what's going on at the moment. So, do you hear her chuffing sounds? Shame, my girl. Whew. My heart's beating at about 1,000,000 miles an hour at this stage of the game, and really I don't even know what else to say. It is, you get a bit shaky when you watch these kind of things. It's, you know, a whole bunch of leopards that, yeah, Hosana is not happy either now. These are all leopards that we know and that we don't want anything bad to happen to them, and now we've got a situation where they're embroiled in a tussle between all of them, and Thandi, she wants to assert herself in this area. That's her tail that you see wagging there, and then Hosana directly behind the bush. Seb, do you want me to try go forward a little bit for you? Try see if I can get forward so I can get all three of them at least somewhat visible for Seb without impaling myself on varying trees that we have here. How's that, Seb? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, we can at least see the tail end of Hosana now, and then Thandi. So there's Thandi and there's Hosana. Shame. Poor Hosana looks completely bewildered by what's going on. He doesn't really know how to deal with this. The thing about him is that because of his size, that's what's keeping Thandi at bay. Thandi is seeing him and just kind of knows, okay, this is a bit of a bigger leopard. This is not a leopard that I want to deal with too much and tangle with. Xongile, on the other hand, slightly smaller individual. She's, you know, a lot more of a target for Thandi. The problem for Xongile now is she's going to have to play a waiting game. She's going to have to sit up there and wait until Thandi is finished. Although she looks like she might be coming down, Seb. Let's see. Karen, you say I'm not the only one with rattled nerves. I would imagine, I think there's many of you at home that have got just as much of a rattled nerve system as what I've got at the moment. And whew, like we need any more drama at the moment. I think we've had more than enough over the last few months, but this is nature, this is how it goes, this is what happens. It's just, you know, this is, in some ways it's completely difficult to watch these things, and it's hard to watch when there's these kind of competitions, but it is nature and it is the way things go. And well, sure, we're privileged in a way to be able to get this insight into these cats' lives. Remember, this is a secretive cat that many people have never even seen, that have been on safari, that whew. So in a way we're privileged to witness this, but I certainly just hope that this is the last of it, and that's the last tussle that they have, and in some way they get out of here and move and separate. Lisa, you say this could be a long night for all of them, and I tend to agree with you. I think this is not going to end anytime soon at this stage. As long as Xongile is up in that tree, it's going to be tough for her. She needed to get away and slink away once Thandi disappeared. That was her chance to get out of here, and especially when Hosana and sort of Thandi were between her. The thing is, though, she was brave and she stood her ground precisely because she knew if she turned and ran that Thandi would be on her in a flash, and that's why she made it the way that she did, and she did what she did. It was the perfect survival strategy in the way that she had to be, and she had to transition from that cub to a animal that defends herself. But when she comes down, she's certainly going to make a bit of noise, and that noise is going to attract Thandi's attention again. She certainly will come and investigate what's going on. So as long as Thandi doesn't go up in there, we're going to be fine, because unfortunately 2 leopards in a tree never ends well. It normally ends in a fight up there, and you don't want them fighting there, because if one slips and falls, it's a long way up. So let's just hope that Xongile decides to find a place to rest. You can see she's trying to find somewhere where she can just lie down. It's not a good tree for a leopard to be in at the moment. Brenda, you're hoping that she sleeps up there. I think it would be nice if she could. The problem is the tree she's run up is horrific for a sleeping leopard. There's no nice branches for her just to sit on and to rest. You can see, look at how awkwardly she's standing at the moment. She's kind of got her legs pinned. She's trying to kind of find a comfortable place, and shame, and she's rubbing herself everywhere. I think she's got dust all over her. Welcome to adulthood, Xongile. I'm afraid it's a tough life out here. And if anybody thought that these animals had it easy, tonight is a perfect display of just how hard it is for animals to survive in this environment. Just how hard it is for a predator to survive. You think that the prey animals have it much easier, much harder, but you can see now that this is really very difficult on all of them, and it's a hard life for a young leopard. Sure. It had to happen at some point, though. It had to be a time where Xongile came across Thandi, and there had to be this aggressive behavior at some point. It was just a matter of time, and the same thing is going to happen to Hosana. He's going to get involved in the same thing with Tingana or Mvula or Djuma or any of these males that we mentioned earlier. So his time is also coming where a male notices him, particularly because he's getting bigger and broader and thicker. So, these leopards, this is unfortunately the passage that they've got to go through to become adult territorial animals, and it will never stop, even when they're territorial. As you can see, Thandi's having to fight for herself too. She's also got a couple cuts and bruises out of this, and it's a difficult game that they play, and it's a game that, as many a leopard has found out, is not easy. There we go. You just position yourself a little bit better so that you can rest your bums. Almost like she wants to just put her backside down for a few seconds and just rest. You can also imagine that this intense energy she's just been through, you can see she's breathing heavy. There's a lot of energy that's just been exerted in fighting with each other, and it certainly, like I say, would have been, I would imagine, Xongile's first ever altercation of that magnitude. Whew. I'm just glad that Thandi didn't decide to go up there with her. But everything on the Hosana Thandi front is quiet and right down. They're just looking at each other. There's no more growling, no more. Even the tails have calmed down. So everything is a lot better now. There's no growling between those two, which is at least a good sign. Now I'm just scanning around to see if there's not anybody else that's arrived, because, well, the story just couldn't get any more hectic at this stage. I think that's a word to describe this. I would imagine our one-word tweets have changed slightly from earlier. My one-word tweet would be just hectic. I don't even know what else to say about this. This has just been craziness. Xongile, be careful, Michael. Right, we're going to just take a breather for 2 seconds, and let's go across to Taylor and see where she is. I think she's left Chitwa Dam and is slowly meandering her way home.
We're on Weaver's Nest now. Very exciting. I know that you're all hoping to stay with Tristan for as long as possible, but he also does need to catch his breath every now and then too. The team have been doing a sterling job this afternoon. Senzo and I enjoyed our sighting. We eventually moved off because a whole another herd of elephants came down, and they just weren't too happy. I'm not sure why they were so unhappy. Not necessarily with us, just that one cow sort of showing a little bit of agitation, and then she carried on though, and so we just thought, well, we better get out of here. And also our 2 little hippos that were out of the water, they moved out of sight, but they were very, very, very sweet. And I think I'm going to do that more often. I think I'm going to sit at Chitwa Dam right towards the end, because it's nice to be able to see, of course, how those young hippo calves are growing. Normally we just see their heads popping out and occasionally half of their body when they do the odd porpoise, but otherwise we don't really get to see them, and I thought that they were very sweet, and I would love to have stayed and watched them for a lot longer. But like I said, when we weren't on air, YouTube was on my phone and we were watching exactly what was going on in that leopard sighting as well. Very exciting stuff. But hopefully everybody will be safe and sound through the night, and Thandi and Thamba will move off, or Hosana and Xongile will move off. Although I don't know if they would want to move off, especially if they've got a kill there. I don't know what they killed or how much of it is left, but they definitely will stand their ground. I'm just amazed as to how feisty Xongile is. She really is, and has taken after her mother. So that's very good. Strong genes. But all of Karula's offspring seem to be quite feisty cats. And neither Thandi, neither Xongile wanting to sort of back down from that situation. But luckily for her, perhaps Xongile's inexperience and maybe sort of erratic sort of swiping, well, gave her the upper hand, and Thandi didn't quite know what hit her. Well, clearly, because she was the one that ended up with all the cuts on her face, so that was quite cool. Amazing. Maybe we'll have to sort of take after Xongile when it comes to trying to fight the gremlins. Perhaps we'll do that technique next time. But it's been a great afternoon filled with all sorts of wonderful things. But for the final minutes of the show, I'm going to send you across to Tristan and all of his leopards.
Well, it's still just a tense affair at this stage. I think Xongile is just trying to catch her breath out there. She's trying to position herself that she can just rest a little bit. Hosana and Thandi are just still sitting opposite each other. Not really much has changed. But we're going to stay a little bit longer, so we're going to extend the show, everybody, so don't leave just yet. We're going to try and just hang around for slightly longer and just see how, if anything, does change for the next little bit. So it's still a stalemate at this stage, and there was another vehicle parked away, and I don't know if any of you guys got screenshots of that leopard at one point, but it did look like Thamba to me, so I don't know if he's also around. We can hear bushbuck alarm calling in the distance, which won't be for these leopards here, so I don't know. Is that Xongile growling?
I think so.
It is her. Shame. Lots of chuffing as well. She's trying to do everything she can to try and keep herself from being injured or being in any way attacked again, which is, it's an amazing display of instinct that's happening between her and even Thandi. You can't get upset with Thandi for doing what she's doing. She's trying to also assert herself. She's trying to protect herself just as much as what Xongile is, and trying to establish and dominate this area, and it's a natural instinct that they both have, so neither of them is to blame. But it is certainly a situation that I hope and pray that these animals decide to just kind of take it easy and to move apart and to let each other go and let everything just sort of happen, and for Xongile to move back southwards a little bit away from where Thandi is right now, and just to have a little bit more of a kind of chilled evening. So I'm hoping that Thandi gets bored of this, Hosana maybe moves, and Thandi follows Hosana, and Xongile can then come down in the darkness of night and disappear. It's a tough thing to watch when you see animals like this and you watch what's going on. You can see Thandi's just poking her head up over the top there. She's just watching what's going on. She's actually not looking up in the tree at all, and Hosana's also watching in that direction. So there's Thandi there. You can see her just poking her head over. I wonder what she's staring at. I'm surprised we haven't had a hyena arrive. That's what I am very surprised. I would have thought maybe Ribbon or potentially Gwen might have arrived with all this commotion. I would have thought maybe one of them would have come to inspect. There's the bushbuck alarm calling, so there's definitely another leopard here somewhere. It must have been Thamba that we saw just now. But I can't see anybody else joining the fray at this stage, and I'm hoping that that bushbuck alarm calling is potentially going to pull Thandi's attention in that direction, and she's going to go and investigate, and that'll give an opportunity for Xongile and Hosana to get out of here. Hosana's fine, he's not got anything to worry about unless Tingana arrives, obviously. If Tingana arrives, then that's a little bit of a different story, but at the end of the day, I think Hosana is the one that almost needs to start moving, and Thandi needs to follow him and give little Xongile a bit of a break and let her just disappear out of here. That's just all too hectic right now, that's for sure. Like I said, I'm a bit lost for words as to what else to say. It's a difficult situation, a difficult place to be, because as much as it's a much of a sort of a good thing that we get Thandi in this area, because a dominant territorial female is great for us in a way, but at the same time, as we all know, we're all rooting for Xongile, we're all rooting for Hosana. We want them to become adult individuals that we can enjoy for many years to come, and it's so tough in a situation like this, because as I said earlier, it's an instinct thing, it's a natural thing that they're trying to do, and you get a little bit kind of jittery about the whole process, because you don't want anybody to really get hurt. You want them to sort of establish themselves and settle their disputes, but not in a way that ultimately leads to some sort of damage. So it's a horrible place to be in a way. It's like you want to watch, you want to see, you want all of these things to play out, but just in a way that doesn't affect these animals. So it's a hard place to be in. It's hard to remove the emotion from this whole thing, and I believe a lot of you are probably in a very similar frame of mind, in a very similar place at the moment. It's also riding on the back of all the emotion that we've had of all the different things that have happened this year, with Kruger disappearing, Salesh. It's just a lot that's happening all at once. So hopefully this will be a peaceful ending to what's going on tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be able to find what happens and see that they're all okay. It's certainly going to be an interesting morning tracking tomorrow, because, well, if these guys are not here, it's going to be very interesting to see which way everything goes. Now, Shell, you wondering if they'll all be around for morning drive? Well, I can tell you that between Taylor and I, we most certainly are going to try and find every single one of these players in this particular game tonight. I'm sure Taylor is desperate to also see what's going on and to make sure that these leopards are safe. So I think we'll let probably Taylor come here first thing in the morning to check, but there is most certainly another leopard here. The fact that there's a bushbuck going crazy is not seeing these leopards up in trees and lying in the bush. It's all around Galago Pan, so there is definitely, I think, Thamba in this area as well. So hopefully everybody just separates and we don't get a situation where we're going to have too many problems. Right, but I think unfortunately that's all we're going to have time for this evening. We've extended a little bit, and it still seems as though everything's in the same sort of place, and it's going to be just one of these waiting games, and I would imagine this is going to go on for much into the night. So we're going to probably start to say our goodbyes for today. Now I hope all of you have I don't know if enjoyed is the right word, have been enthralled by this experience and have savored the moment and just been a huge part of what has happened, and it's certainly been an insane afternoon, and one that we could never have scripted even if we had tried. So thanks for joining us all for this, and I hope, like I say, that you have learned something and enjoyed the experience. Now, from Taylor, Senzo, myself and Seb, we will see you all on the Sunrise Safari, hopefully with lots of good news.